it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast on this Friday, May 2nd. Thank you, everyone, for watching on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different, a top fleet employer in Canada. Again, Forbes magazine, you check it out. It's a great place to work. ShipEnergy.com is the website. Also brought to you in part by Playground, looking for the ultimate entertainment destination. Playground is your ticket to nonstop thrills. Experience heart-pumping gaming action and world-class poker experience. Playground is the 2025 winner of Fan Choice Best Poker Room at the Global Poker Awards. Indulge your taste buds at one of their incredible restaurants. Let you loose with their live music, electrifying DJs. Enjoy unmatched customer service just minutes from downtown Montreal, right across from the Mercier Bridge. Why settle for ordinary when you can have extraordinary at Playground? It's all there. Visit playground.ca to discover more. And Bittt Tibi, they launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer. It's perfect for the playoffs. Only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. All right, the Montreal Canadiens players emptied out their lockers today, and then they all had their exit meetings with, the entire staff, and we have a lot to report today, and we're going to talk about it with Brian Wilde from Global TV Montreal. Brian, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you today, Tony? Busy day.
Good. So, yeah, it was a very busy day. So now I announced yesterday the podcasts, for the most part, are going to be abbreviated versions for the next couple of months here. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to get to every single thing that was said today because pretty much every player spoke. Why don't we just try and highlight some of the most important things that I think came out of today, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Mike Matheson says that he will be representing Canada at the World Championships. Caden Gooley said he's going to wait on an pardon me, I think Caden Gooley said that he's not going, right?
Said he's not going for sure because he wanted to have his quad at 100%, which he called 90% right now.
There you have it. Nick Suzuki said that he's waiting to see if he gets cleared by the Montreal Canadiens medical team. Says that he had some bumps and bruises along the way down the stretch, and added that if the Canadiens didn't absolutely need to win their games down the stretch to make the playoffs, he would have taken some time off to recover. When asked about his Ironman streak, he said, it's just an Ironman streak. Basically said it's no big deal. And said that was not going to factor into the equation if the Canadiens had already qualified for a playoff spot. He would have taken time off. Cole Caulfield has not given an answer yet. He's undecided as well as to whether or not he's going to represent Team USA at the World Championships. And Lane Hudson as well is undecided whether or not he's going to represent Team USA. He also said that he played a lot down the stretch. And, he says, that at one point you have to probably listen to your body a little bit. But at the same time, he also added that his brother's already accepted and his brother's going. And he said, you know what? How many opportunities do you have to represent your country when it comes? So we wouldn't be surprised if he ends up attending, right?
Right. And Slavkovsky said he's not going to play for Slovakia.
And there you have it. Okay. Once Slavkovsky was interesting too today. He was asked about putting up with members of the media, and he thought that there was a question asked to him earlier this season to a 20-year-old player, which was, would you pay money to go and watch this team when the team was rebuilding? He thought that was not a great question that was asked. But anyway, once again, so many things. David Savard added that, you know what, he likes being around hockey, and he likes being around the guys, and you know what? At one point here, he's got to settle down. And he's got to do a few things with his life, take care of his family, and enjoy life a little bit. But he'd like to continue to work for the Montreal Canadiens in some way, shape, or form. So we'll keep our eye on that. Christian Dvorak was asked about whether or not he was offered a contract and chose not to answer that. I think if he was offered a contract, I think he would have answered it and said yes, right? Leads you to believe that Dvorak is gone. Yoel Armia said that there have been contract talks between him and the Montreal Canadiens. So the Canadiens are leaning on bringing Armia back. Arber Xhekaj was asked about his situation and went the politically correct way by saying that, you know, all's great. I'm happy. It was tough to be out of the lineup, but I understand teams winning games. You can't change the lineup. I'm getting better. I'm playing, change the way I play a little bit. I'm trying to pick my spots a little bit more and, play a more disciplined brand of hockey. And he says that all is great. But now that all of that is said, I think we should go to, I think, what was for one player, Alex Carrier, by the way, it was an ankle injury that he suffered when Ovechkin went into him and he just moved out of the way, but Ovechkin made contact with Carrier's leg. It was an ankle injury that bothered him. He said, as for the hit on from Wilson, that, you know what, it didn't do any damage. And he says he thanks the man upstairs for taking care of him. He added, Brian,
yes.
he thought it was a clean hit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
High road.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, either took the high road or did think it was a clean hit, or like they say, right? It's big boys hockey in the playoffs. And sometimes hits like that are considered playoff hockey.
That was one of my themes for sure, Tony, that the team's going to have to get meaner. Going to have to get a little bit of nasty.
I agree with you 1,000%. Samuel Montembeault, if you're wondering what his injury was, because many speculated it was probably a hamstring injury. He tore his groin.
Yeah.
He tore his groin. Josh Anderson didn't want to get into the injuries that he had, but he said that he had some stuff going on with his lower body and his upper body that was pretty significant. Okay.
And he also said he would have gone to the sidelines if they weren't in so many important games. Yeah.
By the way, did you hear John Cooper with Tampa Bay Lightning today?
Oh, I heard a little after talking about how good Florida was, but I haven't heard any more than that.
On players' injuries.
Oh, no, I didn't hear that.
Victor Hedman played in the playoffs with a broken leg.
Oh, my God. Are you serious? I watched Victor Hedman. He was playing great.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. I play with a broken leg.
Bobby Baugh action.
That's unbelievable, eh? All right, okay. I think, Brian, you and I had a conversation before we came on air here, and we thought that for the most part, some of the most interesting comments came from Laine, and maybe that should be the story for today's podcast. So why don't we go with that, okay? All right?
100%.
So let's play clip by clip. I think we have 4 clips from Patrik Laine, one at a time. Let's go.
I think it was kind of a roller coaster, for me individually and for the team also. Like, obviously didn't have the greatest start, but then, found our game when it mattered the most. And obviously, it was a big accomplishment for a young group like this to be in the mix and ultimately make the playoffs and, get to see what that's like. So I think that was obviously a really positive thing for us. And yeah, I think for me, it was not the easiest start, obviously with the injury and stuff, but my kind of only goal that I had for myself this year was to really enjoy playing again, and I definitely did that, even though it was hard at times, but I still enjoyed every bit of it. So for me individually, people are always going to talk about numbers and all that, but for me it was a success that I got to enjoy this awesome sport again.
All right, there you have it. Let's play clip number 2.
Well, I mean, you can always play better. But I mean, when you look at the circumstances that a lot of people don't when they judge you. You know, a guy who hasn't played in a year and was almost going to pretty much retire, came back and had, you know, obviously a knee injury right away, and then came back and, you know, did what I did this year still. I think, you know, I'm pretty happy with that, and I know a lot of guys wouldn't have done as well as I did, and when you look at the circumstances that weren't easy at all, and I had a ton of fun doing it, which was my only thing I wanted to do this year. Everything else on top of that was going to be a bonus. So yeah, I'm satisfied.
All right. Okay. Do we have any other clips?
Yeah, I think you know, just the whole organization and the city overall kind of, you know, gave me that spark again to you know, enjoy the sport. And yeah, it was everybody here involved. Not you guys. You guys definitely weren't part of it, but just the organization overall. No, just kidding. But yeah, just being around the you know, these guys here, everybody within the organization in the city. Like, it was just so awesome, and definitely helped me, you know, go through tough times this year, and you know, still, even though when it was hard, to you know, enjoy the process and just, you know, keep you motivated. So I think it was pretty great.
All right. Okay. There you have it. Patrik Laine earlier today, once again, after the players cleared out their lockers. Shane, is that it for the Patrik Laine clips?
Broke my finger in the second game. So since then, so couldn't really hold on a stick, which was unfortunate. And, you know, shooting is kind of what I do, and just couldn't do it as well as I would have liked to. And so obviously a little disappointed that I couldn't play, but it is what it is.
So I don't know exactly when that happened, but I remember, Brian, that there was a power play in game 2 with a couple of minutes left in period number 2, and Canadiens were unable to score on that power play, and Laine was looking, Hudson was looking for Laine all the time, and he just tried to shoot it, and his shot, like, it wasn't the same shot that we were used to. And we're like, something's going on. He says he was slashed in game 2, and that's how his finger broke. When it happened exactly, I don't know. But so in case you're wondering, Patrik Laine did have a broken finger at some point from game 2 onwards. And that's why when the Canadiens said he was day-to-day in game 3 and game 4 and game 5, it was with the broken finger. He talked about the knee surgery that he had. He's happy that he took the decision not to operate, because once again, the first 2 doctors told him that he should operate on the knee. So he sought a third opinion, and the third opinion was, you don't have to operate this. You can rehabilitate it and do physio, and you should be okay. And he mentioned that he will not need any kind of surgery to his knee. So his knee gave him no problems whatsoever, no swelling, no this, no setbacks, nothing. Isn't that great news? Talked about the fact that for him, the goal this year was to fall in love with the game again, rediscover that passion for the game. And he said it wasn't easy at times, but he did so. He was asked about Montreal's pressure environment and said, I'd rather play in Montreal in an environment like this than somewhere else. And by the way, I didn't feel the pressure of playing in Montreal. Brian, I you know, after hearing all of this, it almost changes like everything going into next season, right? Because about a month and a half ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, everyone was like, oh, the Canadiens need to find the centerman for Laine and Demidov next year. But, you know, right. Then after the first 2 games of the playoffs, it was like, I don't want to see this guy again. He's no good. He's a liability 5-on-5. He doesn't know how to play defense. He was terrible in the overtime in game 1. He can't shoot the puck anymore, and he actually makes the power play worse than he makes it better. Buy him out. It's $3 million the first year. It's 2.35 the second year. Now you hear this and you're like, you know what? Okay, he'll be on the second line next year after all, and hopefully they can find him that centerman. Your thoughts?
I'm going to disagree. I think he's going to be on the third line. I think Newhook is going to play on the second line as a winger, and I think they're going to push him down just a little bit because his 5-on-5 play isn't fantastic. So he will still have his power play role. And even then, I think it's the second power play he's going to be on, because Demidov has to be on the first power play. He was sensational as the series continued on with his passing. So I think the role for Laine will be reduced. But with that said, Tony, I think it's really important that when I consider how you explained everything with Laine and how I explained everything with Laine, it just goes to show that you really have to wait until the post-mortem and see what the injuries are for these people, because it's really easy to look at it and go, this guy's just scrubbing along doing nothing. But if he can't shoot the puck, like that's the thing that guy does. So if you take away the one thing he does world class from his arsenal, he's not gonna look very good. So you have to wait until you get the injury report on these guys before you can make that final statement that he did enough or he didn't do enough. Now, with that said, here's the one thing that surprises me. Tony, you gotta put this into the equation here. If he says that the knee is fine, it didn't hurt him, did it seem like the knee was fine and it didn't hurt him? Like, honestly, like when you watched him skate, did you think he was keeping up? Do you think his pace was good?
So I think Patrik Laine had a cardio issue all season. I don't think he was in top shape. That's number one, right? Especially early on when he came back, and that was normal, right? Because he had missed the,
Sure.
You're arriving at one point. Yeah, correct. And he arrived on December 2nd, and guys already had 2 months of hockey under their belt and stuff like that. And, I don't know what his training was like in the off season, but I think he already arrived at camp a step behind, right? So he had a cardio issue all year, but could it be that after that knee injury, it doesn't mean it was bothering him, but that he was timid because he was worried that something was going to go wrong with the knee, and then maybe he wasn't going all out because of how worried he was. Could be too.
Very fair.
Only he knows, right? Like I believe that Kirby Dach, like Laine, didn't show up in the best of shape because of the ACL he had last year. And then I believe it took him a couple of months to try and get the injury out of his head before he could start playing again. Because I think he started really turning it on mid-December.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, he got on a roll.
Yeah, nowhere to be found. So maybe that was in his head. But, once again, I think it's interesting that you say that Newhook's going to be on the second line because let's say everyone's at their best.
Yes.
Newhook should be on the third line and Laine should be on a second.
If everyone's at their best, you think so?
Yeah. No?
I'm going to disagree with you.
Wow.
I think 5-on-5 that Newhook is a better hockey player 5-on-5 than Laine is. That's my feeling.
There's no doubt.
Maybe somebody doesn't agree with me, and that's just fine. But I think Laine 5-on-5 processes the game slowly. And I think defensively is a bit of a liability. But when he's on the power play, what he does well with the shot, he's world class. He's the best in the world at it. Like, I don't think we saw anybody when he was firing that puck from the left side when they were on a roll and he got that hat trick against who did they just crush when he got the hat trick very early?
Oh, that's I don't even remember. I got to try and look it up.
Buffalo.
Sabres, correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Sabres,
So, there's nobody better in the world at that. So I'm not suggesting that there is not a usefulness for him. There's definitely a usefulness for him. He scores goals. And if he's going to get between 30 and 40 because of what he does super well, that's not a liability. But I think his matchups need to be a little bit easier.
They were all in the power play. By the way, those goals versus Buffalo.
Of course. And that's
December. Yeah, mid-December.
And that's where he got most of his goals.
Yeah.
So, but if his matchups are easier, third line matchups, because when you're the second line matchup, it means you often have to, especially on the road, play the other team's best line.
That's true.
And I don't think he's up to that challenge.
That's a good point, but I can also tell you that your third line usually is supposed to be kind of like your most responsible line. And coaches don't want defensive liabilities on that line either. So, but
I would agree.
It's a point well taken. You can slice it any way you want, right? Type of thing. But it's a point well taken.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm an Alex Newhook lover with that statement, but I just think that who else would be there?
So you're telling me that Patrik Laine and Kirby Dach are both going to be on the third line next year?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm telling you. And I don't know who the third line center is because it doesn't sound like Dvorak's going to be back, does it?
Well, I would be willing to bet that Evans is going to center Gallagher, and Anderson, unless it's going to be Kapanen or Beck, and then Evans ends up centering Laine and Doc. But if you put Laine and Doc on a third line together and both of them are wingers, I would say that you have two players that don't defend well.
Suspect, yeah. Yeah, you're going to need, it might even be Evans there because he's really responsible.
What are your alternatives? Patrik Laine's value is zero on the marketplace, right? Because
of course, yeah.
The contract right now, if they would choose to trade him, let's say on trade deadline day, it could be appealing because there's only a month and a half contract to pay. Kirby Doc, after the season he had, I would imagine that his contract is, the contract's appealing is $3.362 million. But I would imagine after the ACL 1 year ago and the ACL this past season, his value's got to be at 0 too. So they're kind of I wouldn't say stuck because stuck it's a big word, but I think they're kind of going to have to move forward with these players and hope that they get off to a really good start and get their confidence level up.
Yeah, and I think when you listen to Laine, I mean, you have to appreciate through listening to those 4 clips that we did listen to, that here's a guy that, when you consider his history and entering the program and everything for mental health issues, that when I hear him, what I hear is a guy that's trying to be positive, that is selling that he's trying to be a person that is looking at the bright side. And it does not come naturally to him, and he realizes that that's his life goal, to keep saying and keep feeling that he loves something, that he enjoyed something, that he was passionate about something. Because every once in a while he kind of dipped back into it was super challenging and it was really difficult. And so I think he has a little battle in his own head. You know what I mean? That he needs to keep getting better at, as he goes through life, because for some people it's a challenge, like we're not all born to see everything in such a easy light and be happy-go-lucky. There a lot of people aren't happy-go-lucky, and the ones that are happy-go-lucky don't really understand what Patrik Laine goes through on a day-to-day basis. And I think he did great. You know what I mean? This is a guy who left the program and was hoping to fall in love with hockey again and hated it before that. And all in all, I think he did great, and I'm proud of him. Because it's a real effing challenge.
All right, okay. How about this? And it's just, we don't know the answer to this, but I'll ask you anyway. If his finger was 100%, if his hand was 100%, if his pulse was 100%, you think he would have been in the lineup for Game 5?
Yeah, they needed goals. Would they get 12 in 5 games?
Not good. They got 7 of which were on the power play.
Yeah, you don't win a series.
No, 7 of which came from the Suzuki line. Pardon me. I don't remember
7 from the Suzuki line, 12 in all. I mean, you had to get some scoring. That's not a goal total that's going to win.
Suzuki mentioned earlier today when he was asked about his line doing most of the scoring, and he added, most of it came on, he said most of it came on the power play. He says, as a team, we all could have scored more. He said, I think our lack of production 5-on-5 is one of the major reasons why we lost the series, he said.
Sure, I agree with that. But, if you had to break it down to why did that happen, then they're not nasty enough. They got to get nastier. If the NHL is going to officiate like that, where you can cross-check Cole Caulfield across the face when he was just about to shoot the puck to tie the game, like you got to have bigger men out there.
I love that you're going in this direction. I'll tell you why in just a minute. Not before I talk to you about Betway. Go all the way with Betway. Get a free bet up to $200. If your first bet loses, scan the QR code on the screen. Click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. Please play responsibly. I mentioned to Pierre Maguire and Chris Nyland on Wednesday night when the Montreal Canadiens got eliminated. And I mentioned to Stu Cowan yesterday. So I'm going to say it again, and I apologize if I'm being redundant here. In the end, the Montreal Canadiens could be right. Everything Marty St. Louis touched this year, I think, pretty much turned into goals. So Marty St. Louis has a plan for Arber Xhekaj. The way he had a plan for Caulfield, the way he has a plan for all of his players. He's got a plan for Xhekaj. I question his plan for Xhekaj. Dave Madsen and the late Brian Marchment had very long careers in the National Hockey League. Yes, they played with several teams. They were players that were moved. But one of the reasons why they were players that were moved is because every team thought that they needed a guy like that. They needed a guy who was unpredictable, who was dangerous, maybe at times even kind of like crazy on the ice, that when the wires touched was capable of anything. Like, Chris Nyland, who joined me a couple of days ago, at one point he took his stick and he rammed it into Rick Middleton's teeth on the faceoff. Rick Middleton lost like all his teeth type of thing, right? When Nyland would lose it, when Chris Nyland would lose it, Rick Middleton lost his teeth. And there was an opposing player who got a puck in the head that Chris Nyland shot at him type of thing. Now, I'm not here to be a proponent of violence, but what I am here to tell you is that if the Canadiens would have responded with some nastiness earlier in the series, maybe they lose anyway. I'm not so sure they lose as early as 5. Like a buddy of mine were talking the other day before game 5, and we both agreed that the second the game started, whether it was Josh Anderson or Arber Xhekaj or whatever, and whether they grabbed Tom Wilson or they grabbed Brandon Duhaime or they grabbed somebody else, they had to grab somebody, do something kind of crazy. And if the other person didn't drop the gloves, just start wailing away anyway. And if it meant, 4 minutes of whatever, or 5 minutes or whatever, anything, it was kind of like worth it because you almost had nothing to lose at that point. You really had to try and do your best to turn things around. And it didn't happen. I agree with you.
Spencer Carberry actually said it. Said right from the get-go, we had one plan. It was to hit them into oblivion.
Yeah.
Small D, Carrier, small guy. Hudson, small guy. Xhekaj not in the lineup. Not to say that Xhekaj by himself can change everything, but like Tom Wilson was running around doing whatever he pleased. Alex Ovechkin almost ended Jake Evans's career. Like that just missed his knee. And then when Ovechkin got 2 minutes, he was acting like, he got hard done by.
But they did all of that even with Xhekaj in the lineup. And that's why I say you have to unleash Arber Xhekaj. I really believe that.
Exactly. You got to unleash him. And if the National Hockey League is selling pain, you got to have some guys that can dole out some pain.
Yes.
Like this is not enough.
Yeah.
I'm not this kind of guy usually, but I can see what I see. I'm not blind to the way the hockey was played. I'm not blind to how many cross-checks were across faces that Canadiens players just went, oh, my God, and it was painful, but there was no rebuttal. I'm not blind to Tom Wilson skating 35 feet to make hits. I'm not blind to Ovechkin, skating 35 feet to make a hit. You have guys like this. The NHL wants the regular season to be this kind of hockey and playoffs to be that kind of hockey. And when Marc Bergevin said you got guys that get you to and guys that get you through the playoffs,
he was right.
I want to revise that. I want to revise that to you got to get guys that get you to the playoffs, and those guys that get you to, they better play big as well. Because if you got guys that are shying away because it got tougher, get them off the team. Get them off the team. They're useless. They do nothing for you. You'll never get to the promised land with a guy that goes, oh, this is tougher. I want no part of this.
Yeah.
They all got to be, that's why I really like what Cole Caulfield did. He took a stick to the teeth when he was about to score. He was at the bench, absolutely incensed, and he did not wilt. He did not go away. He's a small guy, like 5'7", and he still gave it his all, and he was like the second best player on the team. So good for him. Same with Lane Hudson. Took all the shit that they threw at him, did not wilt, still played with courage. Guys that can be small and play with courage, I got tons of time for them. Guys that are big, that got no courage, you're not going to succeed in the NHL. And the Canadiens do not have enough big guys, Tony, that are angry, a little bit scary, and can change the outlook of every game through intimidation. Intimidation is a part of the NHL, Tony. And if they don't make it a part of the NHL, build your roster that way. But for me, I hope that Florian Xhekaj is going to turn into a hell of a hockey player. And I hope Luke Tuck is going to turn into a hell of a hockey player. Because the guys in the wings that they're waiting for now, I'm not sure they're the big bodies Oliver Kapanen and Owen Becker are going to make the difference in the playoffs
Well,
anymore.
It's funny you
not
say
with
that
the way
because,
they played it.
Yoel Armia has his qualities, but Yoel Armia was not overly effective, I thought, in the playoffs. And to hear now that they're talking contract with him, I take a look at that Washington Capitals fourth line, which before Protas came back from the injury, Protas should be on the first line, by the way. He was there the entire regular season, and he will. But that fourth line with Protas hurt because Beauvillier played on the top line, was Nick Dowd and Brandon Duhaime and Radish. And Brandon Duhaime and Nick Dowd, I thought, were amazing in the series versus the Canadiens.
Yeah.
And Brandon Duhaime goes to the net. He crashes the net. He hits guys. He makes guys pay the price. And he ended up scoring 3 big goals. Those are playoff-type players, and the Canadiens need that. So great comments by you. Let's just end it with this. We have a graphic. Marty St. Louis, named for Coach of the Year, Jack Adams Award finalist. Along with Spencer Carberry of the Washington Capitals, Scott Arniel of the Winnipeg Jets. And by the way, so congratulations to Marty St. Louis. I think this is well-deserved. Not too many people at the Montreal Canadiens making the playoffs, and he definitely deserves to be on that list. And Pascal Vincent for Coach of the Year in the American Hockey League. So the Canadiens, that's a pretty good honor to the 2 Montreal Canadiens coaches, the one with the Canadiens and the one, of course, with the Laval Rocket. Before I let you go, Gordon and Hughes are going to talk on Monday.
Yeah.
What do you most want to know? One thing. If there's one thing you want to ask, what is it?
Wow. I would want to ask them, do you think you have to have a tougher profile on your team next year? A bigger profile? Because there are guys to replace. They better not be small.
Brian Wilde of Global TV Montreal, have a great weekend, my friend, and enjoy the CF Montreal game on Saturday night. I know you're going.
Oh, yes, very much. Thank you so much.
Have fun. Cheers. All right, there
Cheers.
you have it. Brian Wilde. For Shane Gomo and Master Control, special thanks to all of you for watching. Once again, in all transparency, this was pre-recorded right before the hockey game tonight because Brian and I wanted to see if we can have an eye on the hockey game tonight between the Winnipeg Jets and the St. Louis Blues, with the Jets leading the Blues 3-2. Game 6 goes tonight in St. Louis, and it was played actually at 8 p.m. So by the time you're watching this, just past around 10:30 right now, that game is about to end, or should be about to end regulation. So anyway, we'll be back on Monday, and if all goes well, I'll be with Eric Engels, and we're going to talk about Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon's presser, which goes on Monday at 10 a.m. Of course, we also have so many clips from earlier today, which we'll play back during the week. We got so much material there. Special thanks to all of our sponsors. Special thanks to Energy Transportation Group. Special thanks to Playground. Special thanks to Bittt Tibi. Special thanks to Betway. Thank you. Have a great night. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love, and have a great weekend. Ciao for now.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. La Vida TV, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.